In part 1 of Cheap Street Ranger, we mentioned that we'd be using this AOD transmission out of the Crown Victoria behind the 302 powering the Ford Ranger. In this episode, we are going to dig it out and get it free. Why don't we just jump right to it? I'm Ethan, and this is Heathen's Garage. Well, seems like harvest day. Sorry, old girl. Now, in case it wasn't obvious already, we planned on pulling this whole assembly all at once. Engine, transmission, the works. And hopefully that'll speed up the process. If nothing else, it'll save us from having to pull the engine later, which we were going to do anyways. Sure does feel destructive, but what do you do? It's not good for anything. Oops. The whole headlight wiring harness in one go. Now radiator, one cut here, one cut there, and then the hoses, and out she comes. We'll use the same loving care on the hoses as we are going to in everything else. Okay, tranny cooler. Oh, water's coming out of her, that's for sure. Figure out how the lower mount works, I guess. This part has to come out. Yep. That's out. That's out. That's out. Alright, that makes things a little easier to get to here. Now we got some clearance, you know? Now it'll be easier. Now we got a bunch of boring stuff out of the way. Vacuum lines and hoses and some stuff like that. Now we're just lifting it up and I'm going to see if I can figure out how these motor mounts work, because if you're doing it from up top, it looks like the exhaust has to come off, and that seems terrible. Not very interested in that at all. I think I better get a couple jack stands under this old girl. We have the drive shaft pulled out, got the transmission pan off and draining, got some transmission mounts undone, heater hoses are off. Most of the electrical's probably off. That's where we're at. We're just carrying on here. No big excitements. Project. Things are happening. Now, it's kind of windy and cold under here, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to at least show you we pulled the pan off and drained the fluid. And maybe you want to have a look at it. Now, the fluid that came out of here was definitely not red. And if you look in the pan, well, as well as you can see, like, it's not necessarily going to be good. Also, this was laying in the bottom, which I think is like a plug they put in the dipstick hole on the factory line. And that would indicate either the last guy who did the service didn't care, or it's never had a transmission service. Now, I don't remember if I've mentioned this or not before, but this transmission had only forward gear. It didn't matter what position you put the shifter in, it had only forward gear. We have now been able to confirm that the shifter linkage is indeed connected, and the spool moves. Which unfortunately for us means there's going to be more serious things broken inside of this transmission. Now, we're not going to do a full rebuild video like we did with the Turbo 400, but we are going to do some rebuilding on it. If you happen to be looking for a full AOD rebuild, there's a channel called Nick's Transmission, and that's what I'm going to watch, and that's the instructions I'm going to follow along with the book. And if you so desire to rebuild an AOD because you're a sucker for punishment like me, that's a good place to go. Hi, Luna Bear. Hey, Luna, come here. Elvis. Hey, little buddy. Little buddy. Elvis. What are you doing? Come here. They just don't love me like they used to. I think we have most everything undone that we need to. There will be wires and grounds and things that I've forgotten, but that's beside the point. Everything underneath is undone, the motor mounts are undone, the tranny mounts are undone. Which I think means we're ready to inch this thing up to the barn where we can use our engine hoist and hopefully yard the whole works out. Let's get it on the ground first. Everybody clear? Just me still. Now all we gotta do is get this car up to there. Now this is one of those situations where you should definitely seek assistance so that one person can steer while the other one drives, but yeah, we're just gonna do it. How's that? That in far enough? I think so. I'll be dandy. Now, neither the view nor the light is that great in here, but we'll show you what we can. Problem number one here is we've already got our picker in like full sketch mode. You know, we're at the hole that isn't supposed to be there. And it isn't long enough. And not only is it not long enough, we're lifting an engine and a trans. So we really shouldn't be using full sketch mode. What we're having happen is this is running into this. And if this wasn't there, we wouldn't have that problem anymore. We're on to let it bolt down. Fingers and toes. Fingers and toes. Oh man! Hitting the control arms. Now the good news is there's lots of different ways to pull out an engine and where to hook on and strap it. I think I've done it in a way that everyone will be upset because it's around the exhaust manifolds and it's against the electrical and hoses. And I'm using the world's worst kind of straps for this because they don't hold anything. But at least they're open-ended over here so that they could fall out. And there's too many straps in the basket. And, you know, overall, I think it's pretty good. I think I'll have managed to annoy everyone all at once. Okay, the engine's up. We're going to stick a jack underneath the transmission, pop the mount out, and we'll go from there. What am I stuck on? You seem to be stuck on something. What is it? Oh, throttle cable, eh? It's always the throttle cable, a guy forgets. Ah! Oh, I see a cable. What's that about? Ground strap? Who would have thought I'd get stuck on a ground strap? No surprises there! What's next now? This is not the right tool for undoing a fuel line. This makes sparks. Hang on. Alright, are you feeling a little more loosey-goosey now? Well, you're still stuck on something, aren't you? It's kind of like the catalytic converter might have to finally come off. Alright, we're definitely jammed with the catalytic converters now. So we're just going to cut them off quick. That's one. Maybe one will be enough. Maybe we can. Okay, so of note, it's worth taking the cats off probably before starting this process if you can, but it's not that bad cutting them off now either. It's just kind of an awkward time to cut it off, that's all. Alright, hopefully this time it's out. So the funny thing about fuel lines, there's usually a return and a supply. I only cut one of them before, so... Ah, yes. Now we're loosey-goosey! I barely cut my hole big enough. Now the transmission's just tickling the cross member. One of these times it's going to fall a little further. You are free falling. Now, once it's free falling like this, we got to be a little careful that we don't tip the whole works over, because she's heavy. And this is not that good of an engine hoist, if we're honest. So smooth! Smooth is key. Smooth is my middle name. We're out! Look at this, eh? Wow! It sure has a lot of electronic junk on this thing, eh? The good news is, we're not using any of that because we're not using this engine, as I've stated previously. Well, we're not using it immediately. We will be at some point in time. But for now, what we really just want is that transmission. And for those saying, why would you choose a Ford AOD? Mostly it's because I have it. Also because it's fully mechanical overdrive. Which means I don't need a computer to run it. And that's pretty ideal in the scheme of things, because we're trying to do this thing on the cheap. And if you don't have to have a computer, well, then you save that couple bucks. Would it be smarter to buy a transmission that was good instead of using one that was junk? Yeah, probably. But I do like to suffer. So, you know, I guess we're suffering. Now this right here, this is, well, it's the cheapest version of oven cleaner, but we'll see if it works. It was on sale. I think I bought 4 cans of it, so at least if it doesn't work, I've got way more than I need. the bad news about this stuff is that it takes a long time. Like it says leave it on there for 2 hours. So if you're going to use this, don't be in a hurry. What I'm trying to tell you, like find something else to do for a couple hours. That'd be my advice. Well, if we're being honest, which I try to be most of the time, that feels kind of like it was a giant waste of time. Either I remember it better, or oven cleaner has changed, man. Anyways, we can get to the bolts at least, so I suppose we'll go find the Ranger and toss that thing in the back, and we're into the trans rebuild shop. Now we got socket. We can undo these bolts and give her a shot. Now of note, I have not unbolted the torque converter because that's difficult. I have to roll the engine over and stuff, and we're just gonna pull the transmission out of it. That's my big plan here. It's not a good plan, it's just what I'm doing. Alright, let's try there. Now we bar here and tug back this way. Should release. Just like this, yeah. Now we have to pull it pretty straight back because we have a shaft going into the converter. And we're going to dump a lot of fluid, so that's okay. We're cool with that. Oh, the whole input shaft is falling out. Oh. I'll show you in a second what I'm talking about. There you go. This is like that. That's pretty cool, eh? I'll just put him back in there for now. That'll fix that. Yeah, well, it's stuck now. Look at how clean it came. Isn't that great? Nope. It's a different transmission. It's still filthy. We're gonna have to deal with that different. This transmission, however, this is basically the next or second next, it's 2 generations later of that transmission. Now, it's by all accounts vastly improved, and it might even be the better choice, but we already have a converter for this transmission because I hadn't had this one before. This is a Facebook Marketplace find for like $100. Supposedly doesn't have second gear. It's also supposedly been rebuilt and then still didn't have second gear. So we'll see what we find when we get into that. Basically, we're going to use this one and sort of make a super AOD. We need some parts out of this thing, and we put those parts into this thing, and then we have a good AOD. That's what my book on the internet said you could do to make a better AOD that would be, sufficient for some reasonable horsepower. So I guess that's what we're going to try and do. That, however, will be in a different episode. For right now, folks, I call that an episode because, you got to see us remove a powertrain and do some sawzalling and drive the Ranger around, and we'll tear these apart. Maybe partly on camera next episode, maybe partly off camera. We haven't totally decided. I don't really want to do a how-to rebuild the AOD transmission because I don't feel like it. I just want to fix it, put it in, show you the good parts. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. Appreciate all the subscribers. We'll see you next time. Bye. Hello, sir. Do you know you don't even know how to drive? Do you know that I need to be a driver? Can you move over? Elvis, move over. Elvis, move over. Hey, stop ignoring me. Pay attention. Move over. Elvis, move over.